This is my worst nightmare happening all over again. This is 2018 all over again. This is 2022 all over again. This is where Italy failed. The playoff stage is where Italy failed. Italy are the biggest bottle jobs when it comes to the playoff stage. And once again, in 2026, we're playing in the playoff stage. We barely even could get a win against Moldova, who are ranked 156th by FIFA. Italy are 9th, and we're celebrating 2 last-minute goals to win the game. But we had like 80% possession. We had I think 650 completed passes to their 100. And we had to rely on 2 last-minute headers to beat Moldova. How are we going to make it to the World Cup? Tell me how Italy is going to make it to the World Cup. We sit in a group where Norway sits in first place with a plus 29 goal difference. They scored 11 goals against Moldova, and we struggled to get 2. If it wasn't for some last-minute substitutions who severely impacted this game, I think this game would have ended in a draw. I don't think Italy would have won that game. Bro, it's so crazy because I'm 21 years old. I was born in 2004. Obviously, Italy won the 2006 World Cup, but I was 2 years old. I didn't watch that. With my own eyes, I have never seen Italy play in a World Cup knockout stage round. I've never seen them play a knockout stage game before. And I'm 21 years old. Italy, a nation who throughout history has been top of the top, arguably the best footballing nation. They've won 4 World Cups. Second place, only behind Brazil. Italy are a top 3 World Cup nation in the history of this sport. And I'm 21 years old, and I've never, with my own eyes, seen them play a World Cup knockout stage match. You can't write this. You can't make this shit up. Italy are the biggest bottlers in the 21st century when it comes to the World Cup. Because other than that 2006 World Cup where they won, they were shit in 2002 before that. In the 2010 World Cup, they got knocked out in the group stage. They finished in last place against who? Against Paraguay and New Zealand and another team. They were shit. In 2014, which was a fantastic World Cup, once again, Italy were knocked out in the group stage, finishing in 3rd place. And then 2018 comes around, again, amazing World Cup. Italy wasn't in it. They failed to qualify through the playoff round. And then in the 2022 World Cup, the same thing happened where they failed to qualify through the playoff round. Bro, how does this happen? It happened first against Sweden. Then in 2022, it happened against North Macedonia. And now I fear it's going to happen again. Now I fear that sadly, Italy are going to fail to make it into yet another World Cup. If they don't make it into this World Cup, that'll be 3 World Cups in a row. It's been 16 years since the last time they played a World Cup knockout stage game. 4 World Cups. And this could possibly 5. This could be a 20-year run without even playing in a World Cup knockout stage game for Italy, the country who've won 4 World Cups and who are a top 3 nation in the history of the sport. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm having nightmares. And when you look at who they're playing in the playoffs, obviously it's not 100% confirmed yet. But if you look at the percentages, it says that the country that Italy are most likely to play in the playoffs is Sweden. And you would think Sweden have been horrible in the World Cup qualifiers. They sit like last place in their group. They're losing every single game. Bro, I'm scared. Because I don't care if Sweden loses every single game. This is a 1 match. Winner moves on. Loser doesn't play in the World Cup. Italy can lose this game. They lost against Sweden in 2018. And bro, I swear, if they lose to Sweden again, bro, I'm going to have some serious beef with Italy, man. Anyway, so Sweden are the most likely team for them to play in the playoff round. Now, they could also play against Moldova, who, like we saw in today's game, like we saw in the first match day where they played against Moldova, they weren't even that good against them, right? And then, followed by those two teams, is North Macedonia. And the scary thing with North Macedonia is that when Italy lost to them in 2022, they were trash. This year, they look even better. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best North Macedonian teams we've seen maybe ever. They're giving Belgium a real run in their group. And you're telling me Italy are going to have to verse them. Bro, if Italy versus Sweden or North Macedonia, I'm scared that we're going to lose. Any other team, I think we're okay. Moldova, Northern Ireland, Romania, San Marino, like, bro, come on. Italy are winning those. I don't know, but I hope so. But Sweden, North Macedonia, we've seen it happen before, man. We've seen it happen before. We already know what's going to happen, man. They're going to lose 1-0 because they can't score. Fucking hell, man. Now, it's not 100% confirmed that Italy are going to play in the playoffs. If they beat Norway by 9 goals, then they'll advance straight to the World Cup. But come on, let's be real. That's never happening. Norway already beat Italy 3-0. They beat Moldova 11-1. They beat Estonia by 4 or 5 goals. Norway are incredible. And the thing that Norway have that Italy don't have is they have that it factor in the attack with Erling Haaland. Playing against a team like Norway who, let's be real, they're going to sit back and defend. They're going to have 10 men in the box at all times because they're just not good enough to attack and score goals, right? So they're going to defend. They're going to try and grind out a 0-0, maybe a 1-1 draw. But Norway have a player like Erling Haaland who can score 4, 5, 6, 7 goals against them. And that's what Norway did when they versed Moldova. That's why they won 11-1. But Italy don't have that. They don't have that player. Keane is not that player. Retegui is not that player. So when they have 10 players defending in the box, Italy don't have that one player that's going to shine, that's going to be able to score from no matter what. And that's why they have 80% possession. That's why they're crossing the ball left, right, center. They have 30 shots, but they still don't win, right? And they still fail to score. And that's been their problem throughout this whole World Cup qualifiers. Whoever they verse, whether it was Estonia, Moldova, Israel, they always have trouble scoring. Obviously, there was that one game against Israel where they scored 5 goals, but they also conceded 4. So that game wasn't any better. Now, yes, Italy have been way better since Gattuso took over. When Spalletti was coaching them, I don't know what was in his head, but they were shit. Like, they were so trash. Since Gattuso took over, they've been much better. They've been scoring more goals. But still, against the tougher teams, against Norway, Italy couldn't score. Norway have conceded 4 goals in the World Cup qualifiers. They conceded against Estonia, they conceded against Moldova, and they conceded 2 against Israel. They didn't concede against Italy. Italy are the only team in this group that couldn't score against Norway, that failed to score against Norway. And that shows you, first of all, that their attack is not good enough. And second of all, that they're lacking ideas in the final third. Because what we saw from them today and what we've seen from them in other games where they were struggling is that they're just sending in crosses. The ball's going from the left side to the right side to the left side to the right side, and they're just sending in crosses, hoping someone can get a head to it. And that's how they won today, because they scored 2 headers in the last 4 minutes of the game. But if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have won, and they would have kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. And that's why, in my opinion, Italy for the last 10, 15 years haven't been good enough, because their attack and their tactics in terms of their attack haven't been good enough. Because if you look at Italy throughout their whole history, they've always been a very defensive side, right? That's where Italy are amongst the best in the world, is in terms of their center backs, their full backs, and their goalkeeper. Throughout history, that's always how it's been. But when Italy don't have the top tier strikers, they fail, right? If you look at them in the 90s, in the early 2000s, when they had these incredible attackers, they had Del Piero, they had Baggio, they had Totti, they had Zola, they had all these players. these were incredible players that could score goals. Inzaghi, Vieri, whoever it was, they could all score goals. But at the current moment, Moise Kean, Matteo Retegui, Scamacca, these guys are not good enough to score the goals that they need. So that's why they're struggling so much. And defensively, like throughout history, they've been incredible. But in recent years, Italy haven't even been that good. Oh my God, fuck. Italy haven't even been good defensively. Defensively, they haven't been that good. Their center backs don't look as good as they used to. Yes, they have incredible players. Look at Bastoni. Bastoni is one of the best center backs in the world. But not in terms of defending. It's what he provides in other areas of the pitch, like passing, like progressing the ball, all these type of things. But in terms of his pure defensive abilities, Italy don't really have those pure defenders. They don't have Chiellini and Bonucci anymore. They don't have those type of players. So it's really not only in the attack, but it's also in the defense where Italy struggle. In my opinion, the only really good part about Italy's team is their midfield. I think Italy have a fantastic midfield. I think defensively, in terms of pushing the ball forward, they have probably a top 5 midfield lineup in the world. But in their defense and in their attack is where they really struggle, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it for this video. Obviously, Italy got a good result today against Moldova. It was disappointing until the 88th minute when they finally scored, but at least they did get the win. But it's a very sad day because they're going to be heading into the playoffs, and we know what happens there, and it's usually not a very good sight. As always, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.